Ah, yes, fire. One of man's earliest fascinations, and also something that's been used as a weapon from almost the dawn of time. However, the combat engineers take this to new levels with flamethrowers, napalm launchers, and that's pretty much it, but that's pretty deadly. For example, there are two types of, I guess you could say, engineer units. There are the pioneers and the engineers. Just kidding. There are those that have napalm launchers, and there are going to be those which have actual flamethrowers that we're used to. First, starting with those with napalm launchers. They usually fire very rapidly and they'll usually do between like 4 to 3 HE damage per shot. I think now the standard's 4, but I remember that some of them used to have 3. Blue 4 basically only has one unit with the napalm launcher, and that's gonna be, well, there are two actually. And that's gonna be the Gongbabyong, or Gongbyong. I don't know how to pronounce that quite. You know, it's the Y there. And then you also have the assault engineers. Both of these carry the M202 flash. So not a lot of variety there for Blue 4. The Red 4 comparison carries the RPO Rice. Now you might remember the Rice from the Special Forces video, and that's what the Spetsnaz carry, which, oh my gosh, makes them really terrifying because the RPO Rice is very deadly, as you might remember. So yeah, that's really what the goal of, that's really going to be your napalm launcher infantry. It cannot be used in close quarter battles, or, in other words, battles that happen in the same building block. However, they do have a much longer range, decent accuracy, and they'll also fire pretty rapidly. Also, then there's also the flamethrower infantry. Not to say every country has them, because not everyone does, but many do. And these are kind of, I guess you could say, what we remember as the assault engineering units with flamethrowers. They don't do a lot of HE damage, but they also do a lot of suppression. Their ground range is pretty short, but they can engage in close quarter battles. It's not really stated, but you can do it. These guys, they're good. I mean, they're very good. Both have their advantages and disadvantages, but just keep all that in mind. One unit is interesting because it actually comes in at shock training, and that's the Seprezi Stutzmaui, something like that. Something like that is what I'm going to leave that at, because I don't know how to pronounce that. But these guys actually come in at shock trained, which just makes their assault rifle a bit better. Now, some of my more favorite units, there's not a lot of variety here. One great unit are the Pioneers that Canada has. Not the first unit I think of burning things, considering it's probably, I'm maybe an American, and they may be right above us, but usually when I think of Canada, I think of snow, so fire and having flamethrowers isn't the first thing I think of it, unless it was, I don't know, maybe they needed to keep warm. Just kidding, making Canada jokes as an American. We love you, Canada, but we just don't show it. But they have the C1 submachine gun and the M9 flamethrower. The big benefit to having a submachine gun, the Genie also have these, too. I don't want to call them a genie. They don't make everything. They don't grant wishes, sadly. But the Pioneers, they burn a path. They burn a path, I guess you could say. The Pioneers, the great thing about them is they have a submachine gun, which makes them extremely effective in town fighting, which I would say is where you're going to be using these guys the most. That's kind of the highlight of the Pioneers, the Genie, and also, if I can find them, the Sapeurs, that the French have. There they are. They also have the submachine gun. Others, these guys also have the submachine gun, huh? Wow. Interesting when you dive in and you're like, oh wait, actually a lot of these guys have that. Okay, this is awkward. Really all the Red 4 units, though, are gonna be carrying an assault rifle. That doesn't make them bad, it just means that they're gonna do better kind of all around. The assault pioneers, not to get confused with the Sturmpioniere or the pioneers. The assault pioneers have a battle rifle, which is going to make them slightly more effective at extended ranges. But there's always, I wouldn't really recommend using them in that role, because at that point, I mean, they're all going to outrange their flamethrower, but it's just better to, I guess you could say, have a closer range to the flamethrower, because if you're engaging with the submachine gun, it's pretty likely you'll also be engaging with that flamethrower. And that's really the reason you're getting these units, is for a flamethrower, not for, bringing them for the flamethrower, not for this other weapon. This comes on basically every other of your infantry, so it's not all that unique. Now, good combinations, with transports. I know I haven't done this in the past, but, most of the other ones have just been kind of normal transports or helicopters. They aren't all that unique. However, say the Pioneers, for example. I'd say the TH-495, because it's going to give them, well, not the best mobility, it gives them some anti-vehicle capability, because that's the best way to counter these engineers. They do not have any armor penetration value on them, so thus use a cheap vehicle like the TH-495 to kill off enemy, Sapari, stuff like that. It's the best way to kill them. I'd recommend comboing them with something with an autocannon if you don't get a lot of them, like in the case of the VAB 2013. I'd scale it back to normal VAB, but taking these guys with the S2RF 1940 in this case, not a bad idea, or in the BMP 1 or 2. Once again, not a bad idea, because you do get some anti-tank, anti-vehicle capability with them then. Anyways, if you found this useful to you guys, please leave a like, and also, if you think someone else might find this useful, please, once again, leave that like, but please send this send this guide to them. I think it's pretty useful if you're looking at the different types of infantry. Anyways, this is RC0538 signing out. Please have a good day and have some more fun playing War Game if you haven't already.